Ever notice how many things you own aren't made in your own country? It's fascinating when you start to look closely. From the clothes you wear to the gadgets you use daily, many of these items have traveled thousands of miles to reach you. Your phone, your coffee, your clothes. They've all been on a journey, often a global one. Think about it. The smartphone in your hand might have components from China, software from the United States, and be assembled in Vietnam. The coffee you sip each morning could be from beans grown in Colombia, roasted in Italy and brewed in your kitchen. And those trendy jeans? They might have been designed in France, made from cotton, grown in India, and stitched together in Bangladesh. But have you ever stopped to think about why? Why do we source so many products from different parts of the world? The answer lies in the complex web of global trade, where countries specialize in producing certain goods more efficiently than others. This specialization allows for a more diverse range of products at lower costs. Why do we rely so much on stuff from other countries? It's all about efficiency and cost effectiveness. Countries trade because it benefits them economically. For instance, it's cheaper to produce electronics in countries with advanced manufacturing capabilities and lower labor costs. Similarly, tropical countries can grow coffee beans more efficiently than colder regions. This interconnectedness means we can enjoy a variety of products that would otherwise be unavailable or too expensive. And what happens when governments start messing around with trade, slapping on extra taxes called tariffs? Tariffs can disrupt this delicate balance. They are meant to protect domestic industries from foreign competition, but they can also lead to higher prices for consumers and strained international relations. When a country imposes tariffs, it can trigger a trade war where other countries retaliate with their own tariffs, leading to a cycle of increasing costs and reduced trade. Buckle up, Buttercup, because we're about to dive headfirst into the wild world of global trade and protectionism. We'll explore how these policies shape the products we use every day, the prices we pay, and the global economy as a whole. From the bustling ports, where goods are exchanged, to the boardrooms where trade deals are negotiated, we'll uncover the intricate dance of international commerce. So, get ready to embark on a journey through the fascinating and often tumultuous world of global trade. Global trade. It's a term that gets thrown around a lot, but what does it really mean? It sounds fancy, but it's basically just countries buying and selling stuff to each other. Imagine a bustling marketplace, but on a global scale. Think of it like a giant swap meet. But instead of your neighbor's old lamp, it's Colombian coffee beans and Japanese cars. Every country has something unique to offer, and they trade these goods to get what they need or want. Now, this isn't some newfangled idea. Trade has been a fundamental part of human civilization for thousands of years. Humans have been trading with each other for centuries. From the Silk Road to the spice routes, trade has shaped cultures, economies, and even the course of history. But in our hyper-connected world, global trade is more important than ever. With advancements in technology and transportation, the world has become a smaller place, making it easier for goods to move across borders. Today, goods can travel from one side of the planet to the other in a matter of days. This speed and efficiency have revolutionized the way we live and do business. The rise of the internet and digital technology has also played a huge role. Online shopping and digital transactions mean that you can order something from halfway around the world and have it delivered to your doorstep. This interconnectedness means that products are often made from parts sourced from multiple countries. A smartphone, for example, might have components from China, software from the United States, and be assembled in Vietnam. It's the engine that keeps the global economy humming, connecting us all in a web of interdependence. When one part of this web is affected, it can have ripple effects across the globe. Trade wars, tariffs, and economic policies can all impact global trade. These decisions can affect everything from the price of goods to the availability of products. But beyond the economics, global trade also fosters cultural exchange and understanding. When we trade goods, we also share ideas, traditions, and innovations. This exchange enriches our lives, making the world a more diverse and vibrant place. It's a reminder that, despite our differences, we are all connected. Educating the next generation about the importance of global trade is crucial. Understanding how interconnected we are can help foster a sense of global citizenship and responsibility. As we move forward, it's also important to consider the sustainability of global trade. Finding ways to reduce the environmental impact of transporting goods is essential for the future of our planet. Innovations in green logistics and eco-friendly transportation are paving the way for a more sustainable global trade system. These advancements can help ensure that we continue to benefit from global trade while protecting our environment. Ultimately, global trade is about collaboration and partnership. By working together, countries can achieve more than they could alone, creating a better future for everyone. So, what's the big deal about global trade? It's the lifeblood of our interconnected world, driving economies, fostering cultural exchange, and paving the way for a sustainable future. It's a big deal because it touches every aspect of our lives, connecting us all in ways we might not even realize. One of the coolest things about global trade, it's like a giant sale at your favorite store. Because different countries are good at producing different things, trade allows us to specialize. This means more variety, better quality, and, you guessed it, lower prices for consumers. Think about it. Would you rather pay $200 for a t-shirt made in your own country or $20 for one made somewhere else? Yeah, that's what I thought. But the benefits of global trade go way beyond cheap t-shirts. When countries trade with each other, it's not just goods that are exchanged, it's ideas, technology, and even culture. This cross-pollination of knowledge and innovation leads to economic growth, higher living standards, and yes, even world peace. After all, it's hard to justify starting a war with a country that's also your biggest trading partner, right? Section 5, protectionism, shielding ourselves or shooting ourselves in the foot. Now, not everyone's a fan of the global trade love fest. Enter protectionism, the economic equivalent of building a giant wall around your country. The basic idea is to protect domestic industries from foreign competition by making it more expensive or difficult to import goods from abroad. Sounds reasonable, right? Well, like most things in life, it's complicated. Section 6, the tariff tango, when trade gets testy. So, how do countries actually go about protecting their precious industries? Well, they've got a few tricks up their sleeves. One of the most common tools is the tariff, basically a tax on imported goods. By making foreign products more expensive, governments hope to encourage consumers to buy local. Other methods include quotas, which limit the quantity of imports, and subsidies, which give domestic producers a helping hand. Section 7. From trade wars to farm subsidies, protectionism in action. Okay, enough theory, let's talk real-world examples. Protectionism isn't just a concept confined to textbooks or academic discussions. It's a real-world phenomenon that has tangible impacts on economies, businesses, and everyday people. Let's dive into some notable instances where protectionism has played a significant role. Remember that whole US-China trade war a few years back? It wasn't just a series of news headlines. It was a significant event that affected global trade dynamics. The trade war began when the US imposed tariffs on Chinese goods, citing unfair trade practices and intellectual property theft. In retaliation, China imposed its own tariffs on American products. Yeah, that was a classic case of protectionism in action. The tariffs were meant to protect domestic industries from foreign competition, but they also disrupted global supply chains. Cargo ships were delayed, shipping containers piled up at ports, and the flow of goods slowed down significantly. Both sides slapped tariffs on billions of dollars worth of each other's goods, from soybeans to smartphones. American farmers, particularly soybean growers, were hit hard as China was a major market for their crops. On the other hand, Chinese manufacturers faced increased costs for components needed to produce smartphones and other electronics. The result? Higher prices for consumers, uncertainty for businesses, and a ripple effect that was felt across various sectors. Shoppers found themselves paying more for everyday items, while businesses had to navigate a landscape filled with unpredictability. Meetings were held, strategies were revised, and stress levels soared as companies tried to adapt to the new normal, and a whole lot of bad blood. The trade war led to protests, intense negotiations, and heated discussions at the highest levels of government and business. The relationship between the US and China became strained, with each side accusing the other of unfair practices and economic aggression. But hey, at least it made for some dramatic headlines, right? The media had a field day covering the twists and turns of the trade war, with dramatic headlines capturing the public's attention. Every new development was scrutinized, analyzed, and debated, making it one of the most talked about economic events in recent history. And it's not just the US and China. The European Union has also seen its share of protectionist policies. For instance, the EU has implemented agricultural subsidies to protect its farmers from global competition. While these subsidies help maintain the livelihood of European farmers, they also distort global agricultural markets and can lead to trade disputes with other countries. In developing countries, protectionism can take the form of tariffs on imported goods to protect nascent industries. For example, a country might impose tariffs on imported textiles to support its own textile industry. While this can help local businesses grow, it can also lead to higher prices for consumers and strained relations with trading partners. Ultimately, protectionism is a double-edged sword. While it aims to protect domestic industries and jobs, it can also lead to higher prices, trade disputes, and strained international relations. The challenge for policymakers is to find a balance that supports local economies without isolating them from the global market. As we move forward, the debate over protectionism versus free trade will continue to shape the economic landscape. The globalization tightrope, finding the right balance. So, what's the verdict? Is global trade the magical solution to all our economic woes? Or is protectionism the only way to protect jobs and industries at home? Well, as usual, the answer is somewhere in between. Like a tightrope walker, governments need to find the right balance between openness and protection. Too much of either, and you risk falling flat on your face. The future of trade. What's on the horizon? Looking ahead, the future of global trade is about as clear as a crystal ball filled with mud. The rise of automation, the growing threat of climate change, and the lingering effects of the pandemic, all of these factors are reshaping the global trade landscape in ways we're only beginning to understand. One thing's for sure, it's going to be a bumpy ride. So is protectionism the answer? So what do you think? Is protectionism the right call in our increasingly interconnected world, or should we be doubling down on free trade and globalization? It's a tough question with no easy answers, but by understanding the trade-offs involved, we can all be more informed citizens and make better decisions about the future of our economies. The final word, trade in a nutshell. Global trade and protectionism, they're two sides of the same coin, each with its own set of costs and benefits. As we've seen, finding the right balance between the two is crucial for economic prosperity and global stability. So next time you're sipping your Colombian coffee or scrolling through your Japanese-designed phone, take a moment to appreciate the complex web of trade that made it all possible.